Hello there guys, this is Christy Lewis from Dostoevsky in Space. I have a weekend reads for you and I have a little challenge for you. I read 4 things this weekend and I would love to hear which you think is my favorite, and I will tell you at the end which one of these got a 5-star rating from me. The 4 options are the original by Mary Robinette Kowal and Brandon Sanderson, One Piece Volume 1 by Ichiro Oda, the Slaughterhouse-5 graphic novel edition, also known as The Children's Crusade, or the short story The Foghorn by Ray Bradbury. Let me know in the comments with a first comment of which one is your guess of my 5-star rating. Yesterday I recorded my review of the Slaughterhouse-5 graphic novel, so I'm gonna insert that clip right here. Slaughterhouse-5, the graphic novelization of the classic American anti-war novel by Kurt Vonnegut. This is subtitled The Children's Crusade. This follows the protagonist who, he can't really be called a hero. He's a little bit of a loser. I like the guy, but he's not really a hero exactly. We see different parts of Billy's life in this story. It has an untethered time system, so you never know quite where you're going to end up in Billy's life in the next panel. And imagine living like that, like Billy has to. It's a very non-traditional structure, and it's used to highlight the way certain other creatures, shall we say, in this novel view time, which is different the way we view time. The non-traditional structure is told in such a way that it kind of mirrors the other creature's point of view. I thought that was a really clever touch. We end up touching on a whole bunch of different parts of Billy's life, but the thematic emphasis of the book lands on his time as an American prisoner of war with the Germans in World War II. In the graphic novel and in the actual novel, I'm sure, there is some discussion of history that I don't know that I would necessarily agree with his take on it, but I don't know enough of history to have a healthy debate with the man. So at times the book could be sort of preachy, and I didn't usually agree with the messages that it was saying, so that was a little bit off-putting to me, but I knew going in that it was an anti-war novel. It didn't surprise me or anything. And I still really did enjoy this graphic novel and the story, and I do want to read the novel, so I guess it didn't affect me in a bad way. It also helped that many of the times when it was sharing these preachy messages, not always, but many of the times, the messages were accompanied by rather humorous illustrations that de-emphasize the grandeur of his message. He was kind of making fun of himself. A lot of the messages seem to have to do with America and her ideals. That's fine. You can have your opinions, Mr. Vonnegut, because you tell a darn good story. After I got to the end of this, there were a few little confusions that I had, just maybe about the plot and about Vonnegut's meaning. And I was talking to Una over at the Codex Cantina, who also just read this, and I actually picked it up because he was talking about it and was so excited about it. I was like, does Kurt Vonnegut think that life is meaningless or pointless? And he was like, no, he's not a nihilist, and he kind of shared some of what Vonnegut believed, and I guess I would probably just need to actually read some more Vonnegut in order to understand that. He also gives most of the characters in the book kind of round features that makes them look innocent. So even though humanity, he seems to feel, is taking some wrong turns, taking the wrong path sometimes, which I totally and completely agree with, he seems to think that we are not necessarily a terrible species. I mean, I've read stuff like that before, and I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing for sci-fi to handle. Sci-fi is supposed to deal with those kinds of themes. How do we compare to the aliens? And I appreciate that he still values human life and what humans can do. Our lives are not meaningless, although certain characters in this story do struggle with that feeling. Overall, I really enjoyed this, and I definitely wanted to read the novel. So thank you, Una, for talking this up. I did really enjoy it. It's kind of like a primer on the book. Like a really fun way to digest it in 2 days. The other thing that I just picked up from the library and I'm planning on reading tonight is One Piece, which is also something that Una was reading along with Leslie at the Nerdy Narrative, and their combined fervor for the series just made me think, you know, I've only read 2 Shonen Jump series in my life. I should try another one. And I enjoyed them. I enjoyed them both a lot. Kingdom Hearts and Pokemon. And I didn't read the whole series. I just read like installments here and there, whatever the library had. And I really enjoyed those. I'm gonna try this out. Stay tuned. So next I would like to review One Piece Volume 1 by Ichiro Oda. This volume is called East Blue, which I think is a very fun name, and I just love this cover here. So I was excited to pick this one up from the library, and I'm so glad that I did because I loved it. It's super silly and just perfect for if you want some candy, which is really what I was going into this looking for. I really wanted something like hardcore fun. I really did love this. I get really irritated if the fun things that I read for pure fun are not pure fun, because I read a lot of literature. I just really want my fun stuff to be worth the time that I put into it, and this totally was. The story opens with the execution of a legendary pirate who, before he's executed, his final words are, "It's yours if you can find it, but you'll have to search the whole world." Obviously, he is referring to a treasure. It becomes known as the One Piece treasure. We end up following this guy here, whose name is Luffy, or Straw Hat Luffy, as he later becomes known, whose dearest ambition is to become a pirate. Now, you might be like, why would you want to become a pirate? They're pillaging jerks who steal things from honest workers. Well, these kinds of pirates do not kill unnecessarily. They often go around challenging government corruption, and they never kill out of temper or ego. So, there you have it. They are fun pirates. Piracy has become super popular ever since the legend of One Piece was circulated. So, is it any surprise that Luffy wants to become a pirate? No, it is not. We follow him on his adventures as he tries to become one and to find a crew. And it's hilarious. I was laughing with every panel. The themes are about friendship, following your dreams, fighting for what you believe in, that kind of thing. And these pirates obviously are more like heroes on a quest than bad guys. I also love that this book encourages young readers to draw by putting little challenges in here. We end up drawing a Jolly Roger with customized bits if we would like, which I just would have loved this so much when I was a kid. I really loved to read and I really loved to draw. I could just picture young Christy adoring this. It's too bad that I didn't read it when I was younger, but I really loved it now, so it's okay. Next, let's talk about The Foghorn by Ray Bradbury. This is about two men up in a lighthouse, and the older of the two men, who's like the salty guy, he's been there longer, he starts talking about some strange things that have happened in the past at the lighthouse. And he warns his protege that tonight, for the last 3 years on this night, something very strange has happened and nobody else has witnessed it to his knowledge except for him. So he's glad that now he has some company so they can talk about this strange happening. And it has to do with the foghorn. I'll make me a sound and an apparatus and they'll call it a foghorn. And whoever hears it will know the sadness of eternity and the briefness of life. I don't want to spoil the story for you, but if you know Ray Bradbury, you know that there's some kind of speculative twist to the story. And he often has this sense of mystery and atmosphere, and it's very strong in this story. I adored it. It was just perfect. And at the same time, it made sense. Sometimes I don't love Ray Bradbury because it's hard for me to make any sort of logical sense of his stories at all. But this one, especially along with the Codex Cantina explaining things, but I think even before that, I did have a good handle on what happened. The plot wasn't unclear to me. It was easy to follow. I was listening to it and I didn't get lost. Two big themes of this story that I really appreciated are ancientness. I don't exactly know how to describe that theme. The whole lost civilization thing, that's an ancient kind of trope or theme or something. It's just that really old feeling. I love that really old feeling. It has that. And I can't tell you how because it would be a spoiler. But also, the story mines the mysteries of the sea, which I really love when science fiction mines the mystery of the sea or the mystery of space, because there's just so much that we as humans, we pretend like we know so much, but we really don't. I mean, there's so much mystery out there that we don't have the first clue about. So I love it when science fiction kind of explores that with a sense of mystery and magic that's more common in fantasy, but it often also has strong themes or ideas backing it up. So that's the kind of magical alchemical combination that I love in science fiction, and this story had it. It was wonderful. It had both of those elements. After listening to it, I had to go and read it because there was just so many gems in the descriptions, and I wanted to quote them in my book review document so that I have them forever and always. It reminded me of the good parts of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, which I really loved the good parts of that book. It was just, a lot of it I didn't love, unfortunately. But the good parts, by which I mean Atlantis, I loved that. And that's what this short story reminded me of. And it was just so wonderful and immersive. Highly recommended. The Codex Cantina did a short story breakdown of the story, and they talked about the themes of communication that are very strong in there. And now we have the original by Brandon Sanderson and Mary Robinette Kowal. This is not going to be my highly rated story for this video. I am filming a rent review of this. So if you want to hear more about my feelings on the original, I recommend the rant video. Some people really enjoyed this, and I think those people are probably people who enjoy thrillers. I've only read like one thriller that I actually enjoyed. I just tend to be missing atmosphere, to not care about the characters, to get lost in the audio version. Like if I'm reading a thriller, I need to read it like ebook or physical book, not audiobook. This was much more Mary Robinette Kowal than Brandon. I've read 2 of Mary Robinette Kowal's books before and they were fine. But I didn't continue the series because I didn't absolutely love them the way I love Brandon Sanderson. So this is definitely more Mary Robinette Kowal. I recommend this though if you do like thrillers and science fiction. It is a science fiction novella, so it's very short. It's about 3.5 hours. It's really not too much skin off your nose, even if you hate it like I do. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, give it a shot. Maybe check out my review first so you can learn what you might not like about it. I've heard nothing but good reviews about this except for from one friend, Leslie the Nerdy Narrative. She was a little more lukewarm about it. She didn't hate it though. I definitely have the strongest feelings of dislike for this out of all of my friends that I know. So if you want a different perspective, check out my review. Okay guys, it's time. What book did you think won? Because I had a really hard time deciding. I liked Slaughterhouse-Five quite a bit. More of a 3-star. I really loved One Piece, and I really loved The Foghorn. It's really hard for me to decide between those 2. I'm going to go with The Foghorn though, because it's so short, but it impacted me so powerfully. The Foghorn is just so beautiful and atmospheric, and it has themes, and it's very meaningful. That, as you might know by now if you have seen any of my channel before, those are things that I just love. And it shocked me because I didn't expect to love a Ray Bradbury story, but I loved that story. I gave that 5 out of 5 stars. Oh, that's right. I was gonna start rating things according to an American school system scale, like A+ to F-. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do that right now. This is my first video to do that in. I'm gonna give One Piece an A. Gonna give The Foghorn also an A. Going to give the original C-, because like I said, for some people, it's not a failing grade. For me, it's a failing grade. This one, I'm gonna give this one a B. What's up? I just wanted to remind everybody that there's going to be a read-in tomorrow on Victoria's channel at 1 p.m. PDT, which is Pacific Coast time. I hope that you guys can make it. We're gonna have such a good time. We're kicking off Oathbringer, but you don't have to read Oathbringer. Just read whatever you want and come hang out with us. We're gonna do live reading sprints, like 30 minutes at a time, and then we'll chat in between. I will probably have some tea or a snack or something. So just come hang out. See you then, hopefully. The Victorian Choose Your Own Adventure is live over on Kate Howe's channel, so go check out all of the Choose Your Own Adventure stories and check out mine and let me know what you think. It's one of my first writings that's kind of out there free for the world to see, so I'd be curious what you guys think. I don't normally release my writing to the world. Okay guys, I hope you enjoyed this little weekend reads vlog thing. Thanks so much for watching guys. Let me know down in the comments if you read manga or graphic novels, or if you like audiobooks. Just share with me your feelings about anything. I'd love to hear about it. Take care guys.